Hey guys, welcome to part 4 of Create Your Own Webshop with ESP.NET. In the last lesson, we saw how we can connect and insert data using Entity Framework. Over the course of the next two lessons, I will show you how you can display data on a web page, as well as edit and delete existing data, all using Entity Framework 6.0. If you would like to use the same data as me, be sure to download the starter pack from the description below this video. It contains all images as well as the SQL scripts needed to create and fill your tables with the same data as the one on display. Let's get started. Open Visual Studio and open the project that we created in our previous lesson. Alternatively, you can download the starter pack and open the project within. In our last lesson, we already implemented the functionality needed to insert, update, and delete rows from a database. So far, we have only actually used the functionality to insert rows. So today, we are going to pick up where we left off. We are going to start by expanding the product model so that it will also allow us to retrieve database data. We will then use a combination of retrieving data along with the update and delete statements which we've created in our previous lesson to display, update, and delete database data from within the website itself. Open up the product model class located within appcode/models. We're going to add three new methods to this class. The first one is going to return a single product object using that product's ID number. The second one is going to return a list of all available products in the database, and the third one is going to return a list of products that have the same selected type. Create a new method that returns a product object and call it getProduct. Use an int parameter called ID as an input parameter. Then type in the following code. First, add a try-catch statement and have the catch statement return a null value. Whenever we receive a null value, we'll know that something went wrong. Within the try parenthesis, type in a new using statement and create a new garage entities object and call it db. And between those parentheses, create a new product and retrieve it from a database using the following code: db.products.find and ID parameter as input. Then return that product. So that's all there is to it, to retrieving a single object using Entity Framework. Next, create a new method that returns a list of products and call it getAllProducts. Once again, start off with a try-catch statement and have the catch statement return null. For this method, we are going to be using the LINQ language. LINQ, or Language Integrated Query, is a component of the .NET framework that adds native data querying abilities to .NET languages. In layman terms, it allows us to write down SQL-like scripts in an object-oriented manner. Let me show you with the example of retrieving all rows from a table. That's all there is to it. Basically put, link translates SQL code to a more object-friendly format that we can use in code files. Roughly translated, this reads in SQL, select star from products. Then it converts the retrieved rows to a list so that we can use it in our code. Last but not least, we still need to implement a method that returns a list of products that all have the same selected type. So create a new method that also returns a list of products and call it get products by type with an integer called type ID for input. This method is going to be largely the same as the getAllProducts method. The only difference is going to be that we will be implementing a where clause in our link query. So copy and paste all of getAllProducts code within getProductsByType. And below db products, but above select x, type in where x dot type ID double equals type ID. That's it. This method will return all rows with a type ID that matches the type ID input parameter. Now that we have created the methods needed to insert, update, delete, and retrieve data from a database, we are going to build a management page in which we can easily access all of these methods. We are going to be building this page. This page displays all data available in tables products and table product type, as well as links used to either edit or delete an existing row from the database. Clicking the edit link redirects us to a page where we can edit the object, while clicking the delete link will simply remove the row from the database. Let's take a quick look at the page that we're going to be building. The page starts off with a link button that redirects us to the Manage Product page that we've created in our previous lesson. Below that link is a grid view containing all the data found in table products. Below that, it's exactly the same, another link button and another grid view, but this time for table product types. Add a new web form in the pages/management folder and call it management. Make sure to check the select master page checkbox and select your master page as a master. Don't worry about security for now. We will make sure in a later lesson that only authorized users can access this page. Start by dragging and dropping a link button on the management page. Open up the properties and set the text to add new product. Then set the postback URL to the pages/management/manage product page which we've created in the previous lesson. Last but not least, set the CSS class to button. We'll give the button a bit of CSS style later on. Add a new line and drag and drop a grid view on the page. Open the Choose Data Source drop-down list and select New Data Source. Select SQL Database, call it SDS Products and hit OK. Select the garage connection string which is already present and hit the Next button. Select Specify Columns for a table or view and then select the Product table and make sure that all columns are selected. Also, be sure to hit the Advanced button and check the Generate, Insert, Update and Delete statement checkbox. This will allow us to add an edit and delete link in the grid view. Test out your query to see if everything's working and hit the finish button. Now open up the properties of your new grid view and set its ID to GRD for grid products. Let's also give it a bit more width. Head over to the width property and set it to 100%, so it takes up the entire width of its parent container. Let's do the same for table product types. Add a bit of white space and copy and paste both the link and the grid view, so that we have a total of 2 link buttons and 2 grid views on our management page. Select the new link button and set its postback URL to pages/management/manage product types. And alter the text property to add new products type. Then select the grid view and set its ID to grid product types. And change its data source to a new data source. Once again, select SQL database, call it SDS product types. Select the garage connection string. And then select table product type. And don't forget to click the advanced button and check the generate, insert, update and delete statements checkbox. And hit finish. Select one of the grid views, click the small arrow in the top right corner and check the paging, sorting, editing and deleting checkboxes. Do this for both grid views. Alright, let's try out our new management page. First, open up your master page, click the management link and set its navigate URL property to pages/management/management. Save and run your project. If you open the management page, you will notice that we can now easily add, update, and delete items using the built-in grid view functionality. Table product types makes use of very small amounts of text, which makes it easy to update these columns within the grid view itself. However, table products uses rather sizable columns, which can make it rather hard to update the text within the grid view itself. To resolve this issue, we will use the edit links to redirect a user to the Manage Products page that we've created in a previous lesson. In this page, we will fill the text boxes with the data of the selected row and have the Submit button update a row rather than insert a new one. To fire an event, each time an edit link is clicked, select your grid products and in the Events tab, look for the row editing event. Make sure to select the row editing and not the row updated event. And double click it to create a new procedure. The first thing which this method needs to do is retrieve the ID of the selected row from the grid view. We will then redirect the user to page Manage Products, in which we can use the retrieved ID to fill the text fields with information about the selected product. Let's get started. Go back to your code behind file and in the newly created method, write down the code that I will be writing down. that ought to do it. Let's check it out. So if we hit an edit link now, for example for product number 15, then we're being redirected to the page Manage Products along with the retrieved ID. The page does not do anything with this information, however. It just displays its standard blank page. What we need to do is implement a check using this ID parameter. Whenever an ID is present in this URL, we know that a product is being updated and that we should fill the text boxes and have the submit button update an existing row instead of inserting a new one. If no such parameter is present, we know that a new product is being inserted, so all text boxes should be left blank and the submit button should insert a new row. Let's get to it. Go to Manage Products, Code Behind file. We're going to add a check in the page load method to see if an ID parameter is present in the URL. So write down the following code. Place your cursor between the not is postback check and add some white space. The first thing we need to do is check if an ID parameter exists in the URL. A good way to do this is by using the string.isNull or whitespace method. This method returns true whenever a string value is either null, a blank string, or completely made up of white spaces. If this method returns false using the ID as an input parameter, then we'll know that a ID parameter exists. So type down if not string dot is null or whitespace, and then type in the ID parameter. You can do this by typing request dot query string square brackets ID. So if this check passes, then we have an ID. So we can extract it from the URL. Type in int ID equals convert to int 32 request dot query string square brackets ID. Now add a new method, call it fill page, and between the parentheses add the ID parameter. We'll be using this method to fill the text boxes and drop-down lists of the page. So below the page load method, add a new private void called fill page with an integer called ID for input. Then write down the following code. I seem to have made a small error. In the product model class, we have set the get methods as private methods. These, of course, need to be set to public, or otherwise we will not be able to access them from outside this class. So set all methods within the models to public. I do apologize for this error. Alright, that ought to do it. Now we need to update the button submit click event to update a record whenever an ID is present. So go to your button submit underscore click method. I'm going to cut and paste mine Under the page load method, I like to keep my events and methods grouped and modify the already present code there to this. Alright, that should do it. Let's test it out to see if everything's working. Let's try updating product cylinder heads. So when I click the edit link, I'll be redirected to the Manage Products page, in which you can see that all text boxes have been filled. Let's try modifying a bit of data and hitting the submit button yields a successful updated message, and you can see that the parameters have indeed been updated. The grid views look a bit boring right now, so let's give them a bit of style. Click one of them and once again select the small arrow in the top right corner and click the auto format link. A new window will appear from which you can choose any template which you like. Personally, I'm quite fond of the Mocha template, so I'm going to select that one for both grid views. And I'm also going to set the width property of grid product types to 50% since it does not need to take up that much space. There we go. So that's it for today. You have now learned how you can update and delete objects in a database using Entity Framework and how to build a simple yet effective content management system. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me them in the comment section below, or if you would like more information, you can discuss them on the forums. There is a link in the description as well. And as always, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again for our next lesson, in which you will learn how you can display this data on a webshop page.